What's up, everybody? It's Josh coming at you from the Avengers Tower. We need to talk about the Miss Marvel finale. I also want to touch base on just my thoughts on the show overall, but there were two massive reveals in the Miss Marvel finale that have the internet abuzz. Marvel fans are talking. People are divided on this stuff. So let's kind of get into that. And I, of course, want to know your thoughts in the comment section below. But I do just want to say, because I haven't really done a lot of coverage of the Miss Marvel show, I don't think it was one of the most popular Marvel shows in general, and I just didn't see like a ton of buzz for the show. It also kind of half came out during Kenobi, so I was already doing like Kenobi stuff then, but I actually did enjoy the Miss Marvel show more than I thought I would. It has some elements in it that I think really work. The family's really cool. I think Iman is great as Kamala, and there's a lot of charm in different aspects of the film. It does do that Marvel television show thing where it kind of has the ending pretty predictable, and it kind of just teeters a little bit or treads water in the middle of the show without making a ton of different progress. But the characters that are in the show are really cool. Some of the themes that are explored are really cool, and they do some really wild things with the characters. So I'd probably give it like a B+ or an A-. I enjoyed Miss Marvel, but I do think it is definitely aimed at a younger audience, and so probably not for all the Marvel fans out there, which is why I didn't really cover it as much as I have the other Marvel shows. Now, having said that, the end and the very finale episode was pretty freaking wild. It has a ton of crazy fun action. You have Damage Control being very active in trying to bring Kamala and Karan in, and that's pretty interesting. The whole Bangle setup and the powers, that's really interesting. But what people are really talking about, man, what's causing the kerfuffle is the fact that Kevin Feige turned Miss Marvel into a freaking mutant. Yes, that's right, a mutant. X-Men style mutant, as at the end of the show, the other character that's her like man in the chair guy that also likes her, I forget his name. I think it's Bruno. I think that is the character's name. He tells her, we may have gotten it wrong, there's something wrong with your genes, a change in your genes, a mutation, and then they literally play the riff from the X-Men show, the old 90s X-Men show. And yeah, I mean, if the mutation line wasn't enough, them actually putting that riff in there just totally sells it and solidifies it as it is absolutely mutant stuff that they're talking about. She's a mutant in the MCU. I've already read articles about how Iman was like freaking out about this. A lot of people were very excited about this, and it is really, really cool, but some people are not crazy about it, because what this means is that one of the most popular Inhuman characters from the comic books has been changed to a mutant, and it does sort of feed into that narrative that Kevin Feige doesn't like the Inhumans. I mean, he kills off Black Bolt in Multiverse of Madness in a rather hilarious way. There was supposed to be an Inhumans movie. He just kind of let that fall to the television side of things, and the Scott Buck version of the Inhumans was absolutely terrible. And so it's quite strange that this very popular Inhuman character has now become a mutant. And so there's a side of the fan base that wants to see the royal family, wants to see the Inhumans, have their justice done, that are confused by Kamala being a mutant. It's also weird that there are characters like Scarlet Witch, Pietro, even Namor, I have heard, will not be a mutant in Wakanda Forever. And so there are predominant and popular mutants that are already in the MCU that are not mutants. And so there's very popular mutant characters not being mutants. And then now Kamala Khan, a popular Inhuman, has now become a mutant. And so you guys can fight about that in the comment section, and I'm curious to know what you think, and we'll talk about it on the live stream. But I'm actually okay with this for a couple of different reasons. Number one, I think it's a really interesting way to take this character, Miss Marvel, in a whole new direction, right? Her being a mutant is going to have a massive impact. Perhaps this will come into play in the Marvels when they're out there doing cosmic stuff. But if it doesn't come into play then, it's likely to come into play when she returns back to Earth. It's also interesting for the MCU overall because it indicates that something may have happened to cause the mutation in her gene. are the X genes starting to just pop up in the population more than they were before? Does this have to do with the snap, the blip, or maybe what happens in the Eternals movie with Erisham coming to Earth? Is there a catalyst for a lot more mutants popping up in the world? And so that's actually pretty freaking interesting to the MCU. I also really, really like Iman. I really like the actress here. And I think, whether or not you love the show, and again, I don't think the show's for everybody. It's freaking awesome that we have such a Marvel fangirl in Iman that's going to play such a central role in the MCU moving forward. And her becoming a mutant kind of, to me, gives me this vibe of like Jubilee. Jubilee from the X-Men is this young girl that becomes a mutant. It's like something of a catalyst for some of the stories, and the old X-Men animated cartoon was all about Jubilee becoming a mutant and the strife and trauma that comes with that. Her parents register, the Sentinels come for her, Xavier and the X-Men save her, and then take her to the institution. And so Iman being a mutant and such a good actress and such a Marvel lover is quite frankly dope, because what that could mean moving forward for the Mutants project that's coming out would just be incredible. Like having her at the center of a story like that and sort of being a Jubilee for the MCU, I think is actually rather cool. Now, the other thing that happens in the post-credit scene for Miss Marvel is there's something that happens with the bangle where Miss Marvel is teleported out into space somewhere, and Carol Danvers is teleported back to Earth. At least that's what we think is going on there. A lot of confusion there. Something happens, there's a teleportation, and then Carol Danvers is just in her room looking over all of the Marvel fan stuff and all the Captain Marvel fan art, and she's like, oh, no, like, this is not good, like, what the heck? And so that will then lead into the Marvels. So what's going on with the Marvels? I don't know, but it's very likely that Iman and maybe the bangle and something else going on the cosmic level is the thing that put Carol Danvers back on Earth. Now Carol will probably have to go back out into space to try to find Iman, Miss Marvel, and that's kind of interesting and intriguing as well. Perhaps there'll be some exploration of mutants there. And there are also rumors and reports that the Inhumans will play somewhat of a role in the Marvels movie. So regardless, a lot more to be explored there and a pretty intriguing ending to the Miss Marvel show. What do you think of Miss Marvel being a freaking mutant? And what do you think was going on with Carol Danvers and Miss Marvel at the end of that show? Let me know in the comment section below.